snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, so I am here today to talk about a book, and the book that I'm going to be reviewing is Everybody Sees the Ants. This is by A.S. King, and this was my first exposure to A.S. King. Initially, I planned to read this as part of the Christmas Booktubeathon, but I ended up doing my Christmas Booktubeathon a few days early and I got through this in a day. So let's get on with the review. I would give this book a solid 3.5 stars, which for a contemporary read that I didn't actually choose myself, this was gifted to me. That's not a bad rating because I don't often read contemporary, and when I do, a lot of them are a bit of a letdown and I don't really enjoy them. This book I definitely felt was more substantial than a lot of the others I have read, and it definitely had interesting themes within it which were nice to read about. It's the story of Lucky Lindemann. Lucky is a young boy who is in school and he is being bullied by various different people. He's not had a great life. He lives with his mum and dad, and his mum and dad are constantly bickering about what to do with him and everything in his life. It's all a little bit unstable and he's just not really sure what direction he's going in. He doesn't really know if he's depressed or not, and his life is all a bit in turmoil. He frequently visits the swimming club with his mum. His mum is an avid swimmer and they get on quite well, but his dad and the relationship between the two of them is really lacking. Sometimes his father tries to take an interest in his life, at other times he doesn't really bother, and he's definitely the sort of person who is a workaholic and tries to work to avoid his family. So Lucky doesn't get to see his dad very often. This is probably due to the fact that Lucky's grandfather went missing in the Vietnam War and they never knew whether he was alive or not. He's just missing in action, and therefore his father didn't really have a father as he grew up, and the relationship between the two of them has suffered because of it. The interesting thing about this story is that Lucky has a very vivid imagination and he has a great time exploring the jungle, trying to find his grandfather, whom he never actually met, in the Vietnam countryside and jungle. And they go on all sorts of adventures in his mind. Lucky is constantly trying to break his granddad out of camps and constantly trying to get him back home. And that's the fun part of this story, definitely seeing his adventures with his granddad, who is a very kind leading figure in his life, even though he is imaginary, was really, really cool, and I like that aspect of this book a lot. That's why it ended up being a 3.5 rather than just a 3 or a 2-star book. Lucky definitely doesn't have a horrible life, but he has had some things happen to him that are dark, and he's had things that are really horrible happen to him. He's certainly not your happy kid. He has got things wrong with him mentally, and he's been through a lot of trauma in his life. He isn't a very bold character, and there are certainly moments within this book where you feel like it's not about him being a bold character, it's about him growing as a person and about the things he has to go through to become a better person. I would definitely say that the character of Lucky himself was actually a very relatable character. The writing style that A.S. King employs means that he definitely feels like a real person, and his problems, although they are a little bit extreme perhaps, are actually really interesting to read about, and he does have a good personality, even if it's a little bit quirky and funny at times. He is a kind-hearted boy who never really tries to get in trouble, but somehow it always seems to find him, and he just is trying to enjoy life as he goes through it, but he's making the best of the situation he's in. The story starts off quite slow. I wasn't really into it at the beginning, but as it goes through and you discover more things about his past and about his current situation and the friends that he meets, I definitely felt like it picked up more towards the end and was really interesting towards the end when things were looking up for him. He meets some really cool characters along the way, and I really enjoyed the personalities that they had as well and the relationships that they formed, so that was really cool to see, and overall it was a decent read, which I ended up giving a 3.5 stars. So definitely let me know if you have read any A.S. King and you would recommend any of her other books, because I'm certainly interested in picking up more by her potentially. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you all very soon in my next video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little chat.